Okay. So here's my sheet of paper. I'm still using Canson. And I have water ready. And let me also make sure that I have the comments and everything where I can see you guys properly or read from you guys properly. And yeah, okay. So today we are going to do something which I hope is fairly simple. It's just going to be 2 elements. Hi, Zanette. We're going to have a sky and we're going to have trees. And this time, I kid you not, the sky is going to be pink. I am hell-bent on making sure that it's going to be a pink sky. I know I've tried that a few times and never really worked out. I don't want it to be a super massively huge painting, so I'm just going to divide my sheet. I'm just going to draw a line so I know exactly where it ends. So let's just make it like a square sort of thing. And we'll go from there, okay? So this is what I'm going to work with. And I know I should be using washi tape or some sort of tape to kind of tape things down. So I suggest if you have it, use it. I have this green tape here, which you normally use for like painting. So I think just for the sake of the sky and whatnot, I will, oops, ripped it. Let's try another one. I'm gonna tape it down and, whoops, I think I will rip it first. Then make sure it's on the screen properly to sort of tape it down. There we go. Someone's talking about crescent rolls and jammies. I'm not in my jammies because, like I said, I went to the park with the kids earlier, so missed out on all of that. But yes, yesterday I was literally on the couch with my laptop. I guess, yes, with my laptop, either doing work things or something else, even though I said I was going to take time off. But me being on the couch with the kids watching movies, I think that's not typically the norm. So it was something different. All right, okay, so let's begin. So like I mentioned, we're going to do another sky scene kind of thing with trees, but this time we're going to focus more on the sky and getting it to be a nice, stunning color. I will be using my mop brush in the number 4, so I barely get to use it. And then I will be using, for the pinks, I will be using the Carmen. This is St. Petersburg. For the trees, we will be using a combination of just the green, St. Petersburg again. And I'll have some of the umber too. Actually, no, I'm not going to use the umber because that's more of a brown. I want it to be a lot darker, so I'm going to get a black involved instead. So we have a nice blend from the top. So we have a black. And then let's see. So we've got, we mix with the black with the Carmen. We get a nice dark at the top and then blend it down to pink. And the trees can be a combination of the green and the black. And yeah, I think those are all the colors we need. So have your palettes ready. I'm going to mix some of this color onto my palette that I have on the side. I haven't, I'm not ready with the shell palette, so I won't be using that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a light base of the pink, and we can concentrate the top to be darker and then just go lighter as we go down. So I'm going to mix some of that onto the side. I have some room to the side, so I'm just going to mix that. And I'm going to get some color laid on here quickly. So blending in color, and then I'm just taking water to smoothen it out as we go down, all the way down. All right, so now that it's damp, now we can have fun with like the blending and making it darker and lighter and whatnot. So I'm gonna go and add darker hues at the top here. And you can kind of add them sporadically to give the sky a more organic feel or look to it, as opposed to just linear when you kind of paint it that way. And I'm just dabbing away as we go. And you can make sure you have your paper towel handy if you want to dab certain areas off. Like if you feel like it's not giving you that right shape, if you don't like how it looks. And we want to concentrate more of the pink around the midsection here, or the upper midsection rather. And what I'm going to do is now get some of my black and using this, the number 1 brush, I'm going to get some of the black on the top. I need a lot of it at the top so I can get a nice blend of the black and the pink. So I'm going to go a little bit extra dark with it. And then try and do my blending. And then go back in with my number 4. And I want to add my pink. I'm also going to add some on here because I think it would have been nice to have like a nice dark pink at the top and then light as you go down. And this is what happens when you have this brush. It kind of, I think people were talking about it, it kind of just bunches, doesn't spring back. This is what happens when you have a lot of water or too little water, or you need more water. So you just have to kind of play around with it a bit before you can achieve the look and feel that you're kind of, or the get it to do what you want it to do really. So again, I'm going to go back and get some more of this. I'm going to add a couple of lines to kind of have it kind of blend in with things. And I'm just dabbing some off here and there. And then I'm going back in with the number 1 because I want some more of the black. I want the top to be really concentrated with the black. So kind of get in there and get that black, at least at the top. And so it kind of blends in with the pink while it is still pretty damp, if you know what I mean. Just making sure you guys can see properly. And I think, you know, something like this would work really well if we had like 100% cotton watercolor paper. So then the blending is really nice. However, we don't. So we're kind of working with what we have, which is just the regular Canson watercolor paper, and that's not 100% cotton. So we kind of make do with what we have for this bit. And I'm just getting a little bit of dabs of the pink here. And just adding a couple of lines so it doesn't look like it just abruptly kind of ends. And now once we have this, I'm gonna let this be for now. You can either take some salt and sprinkle on the sky area, or you can just take any brush. I'm gonna take the number 8, and with just water on it, I'm just gonna like sprinkle some stuff on the sky area at the top, which is just water. So you can see how it gives you these water stains, and it kind of looks like stars in the sky. Now, if you want tinier ones, I would suggest going for a smaller brush, like go for the number 4, for instance, and it'll give you tinier things in the sky. And at the end, you know what? To enhance this like Milky Way, starry night kind of look, we will go in with gouache. So just putting this in for now, leaving this in. And I'm just going to do one more thing because the trees are going to come up from this way and they're going to have a little bit of perspective. I'm just going to make sure that this bottom is properly blended in. All right, so now we go in with our number 8 or the number 4, and we're going to do our trees. So for the trees, you can feel free to use the green. I'm going to start off with the black and then put in hints of green, and let's see how that works. Now for the trees, I'm going to have like one coming out from here, and I'm just going to do these little motions. If you've done any of my tree tutorials, by motions I mean laying down little strokes, just adding lines kind of forming a tree. And we're going to keep on going and doing that as we kind of go along. And we want this nice effect, flaring effect that we have for most of the trees. All right, so we're going to kind of continue. So you can see, because I'm using the number 4, it's a lot smaller in effect. If you want bigger, then you obviously need a bigger brush to be using for these trees. Just gonna go all the way down. And I love this effect. Look at this. Isn't that pretty? So now we're gonna have one peeping out from the side over here. And because it's dry, like you can see this area is dry, so it's not giving us that nice blurry, blendy effect that this side has given us, but that's okay. Just kind of carry on. Dip your brush in water and kind of just carry on doing the same motion, and we'll figure it out as we kind of go along. All right, so now we will do one more over here. And I love that blending happening, again, like I've mentioned several times before. So you can kind of leave a lot of white space where you have the pink peeping in. Right? And let's do one that's like maybe slightly taller here this way. Oh my gosh, that blurring effect itself is like giving me all sorts of satisfaction right now. It is just so nice to look at, like you've laid it down and you're creating this, and I don't know if anybody else can like relate to what I'm saying, but I love kind of putting down color and then seeing it form into something, especially something pretty. It just gives me so much satisfaction. Love it. Let me adjust the screen so you can see that. So again, I'm just kind of going all the way to the bottom and having it disappear that way. And I'll just have some at the very back, like a very thin one. There we go, we're good. And then you can kind of just adjust the other ones you have by just adding a little extra detail if there's too much space in between. And then after we've done this bit, we're gonna go in with the green and add some green. Hopefully we still get a good enough flare. I'm hoping I haven't taken too much time doing this bit to sort of, you know, by the time we get in with the green, it doesn't do the flare bit. But here's hoping, crossing my fingers. Let's see. All right, so done with this. Now we will get the green. Here's my green. I'm gonna get some, using the same number 4, I'm gonna get some green, and let's try it off with adding some right here in little areas that are peeping. And keep on going because time is of the essence. Otherwise we're kind of completely missing out on the blur. Ooh, my hand is shaking because I feel the pressure. So just sporadically dabbing and adding very loose lines and strokes that kind of just embellish the black lines that we've kind of added on here. And I'm kind of spreading out where I lay my stuff just so that if it is drying up, then I'm getting at least some of the basic blending happening for most of the trees, or throughout all the trees that we've laid out. And then when we go back and it's like super dried, then it looks again like it looks cohesive, and it looks like all the trees have a little bit of this effect happening everywhere. So that's my thinking there. Let's do some for this side here. This tree was literally like peeping into the picture. And then you can literally, you can, if you have any of those thicker brushes that you can just dip in paint and then just put blobs of paint that give you like a nice texture, you can absolutely do that to finish this off. Or you're just sitting down and kind of doing what I'm doing right now and adding paint all over to kind of achieve this look, which is a little more time consuming compared to if you had a nice thick brush that you could kind of just sit down and add your stuff and kind of go with it. Now, as I'm kind of going along, because dominant of, like, this is supposed to be like a darker scene, so you don't see a lot of green, I'm now going to revert back to my black, and I'm going to do black for the rest of this. So reverting back to my black, I'm kind of just going in and adding the same strokes, but just using black. So now what it looks like is we had hints of green, but it is a starry night kind of scene. And so we have tons of black as well happening. It's also kind of important that we kind of not overwork this. And that can be a little bit tough, especially when you feel like, oh, you need to keep on doing this repetition throughout. But I think for now, I'll leave the tops and I'm just going to concentrate on the bottom, and then we are done. We'll do a little bit of splatter for the sky, because that's kind of blended in quite nicely. And then we can end off there. So just kind of going along with this. So if you have that big brush, feel free to use it. I'm quite proud of myself. I said I would do a pink sky scene before the new year, and here we are. I've done it! Because I always end up using the azure blue or the gray blue, and then it looks nothing like a pink sky. And the few pink skies I have tried have been very, like, it's like just one swoosh of a very light pink, and then everything is like this overpowering blue. So I'm pretty proud that I was able to do this. At this point, if you feel like this is too much and you want to just kind of put some bigger dabs, take your mop brush and you can kind of just go in with water, or just kind of do some nice dabs. And because things are still pretty damp, you're getting this nice effect happening at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. And I think that's also a nice feel. Oops, flipped over. And this, my friends, is very impressionistic after Vincent van Gogh, or yeah, mainly Vincent van Gogh. Gauguin wasn't much of a impressionist, I think, although they were really good friends. So, all right, okay, so this is what we have. I'm going to leave it as is. Once it dries, it won't quite look as dark compared to the rest. And then, like I mentioned, the gouache, and then we are done. So for the gouache, do I have my gouache here, or did I put it away? Oh yes, I do have it here. So I'm just going to use some white gouache, mixing it to the side, and I'm just going to splatter some onto the sky. And, you know, for those of you who use metallics, why not splatter some metallics onto the sky? That might be like a nice twinkly sky as well. So mixing some of my white gouache onto the side, and I'm going to use my number 4 to get a nice splatter. So you can have the splatter happening in a direction so it looks like a wishing star or something like that, kind of in the sky, or you could just have it going all over. Leave that entirely up to you. Yes, I think I just saw a question pop up, someone asking, what if you use indigo for the sky? You could absolutely use any color outside of the black for the sky. Whatever your preference is, really. I just really wanted pink to be dominant because, like I mentioned, every time I try to do a pink sky, the blue takes over and the pink is kind of in the background. So that was my reasoning. And I'm just going to add some of this onto the trees as well, so the trees can look like there's snow on them. And then probably go in after and add more. But for now, I'll just let this dry and leave it as is. If you've watched my 2 or 3, I think I've done 2 videos with trees, like a tree wintry scene. You can check that out and mention how you can do the snow there. But for now, I wanted to keep this short and sweet and fun. And here's what we have. So this is it, guys. This is our last tutorial, or live video rather, for 2020. So I hope you guys like this. Let me see comments in the chat if anyone has said anything. If you guys have any questions, if you want to tell me what you're doing for the rest of the day or the season, or until next year, because I think next year is when I'm going to see most of you. Hey, Alia joined, okay. Zanette likes the blurry trees. Awesome. Hey, Alva. Hey, Artie. Yeah, okay, so Beatrix was the one who asked about the indigo sky in place for the black. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, use whatever color you feel works for you, but I just wanted to kind of do my pink bit, and yeah, so that's that. Okay, so here's back to my face, because I wanted to say a quick, I guess, bye for this year. Hopefully 2021, when I see you guys, we're going to be a lot more, I just hope it's a better year, because I think a lot of us are sick and tired of everything that's happening and just having to be at home. Although, mind you, I think a lot of you have gotten really good with social media. So that's really good. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and send me your work. Instagram and Facebook. I love seeing your work, so you know how to find me there. Otherwise, I will see you again next year. Yeah, 2021. So thanks guys for watching. I'm just checking to see the messages if anyone said anything. All right. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Bye.